Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'll show you how you can easily paint these blue cornflowers in watercolor using multiple colors mixed from a mostly primary color palette. So let's get started. The colors I'm using are from Daniel Smith's Essentials set, which includes a warm and cool version of each of the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. I'm also using a touch of Opera Pink, which is a very bright and vibrant, almost fluorescent pink color that's really lovely for florals. The paper is Fabriano Artistico Hot Press, 140 pound, and I will have a link to all the supplies used in the video description. I'm starting by creating several mixes before I start the painting that range from light blue to muted purple gray and some greens as well. The neutral tones help to create a nice tonal variety in the painting and add some sophistication. Using colors directly out of the tube would result in a cartoonish look and not look very realistic or modern or sophisticated. To neutralize a color, for example with the purple, you add a little of its complement, which is yellow, and to neutralize the green, you add a little bit of red. Once I have my colors mixed, I just test them on my scrap paper to make sure they have the right hue and value that I'm looking for. My brush is Silver Black Velvet Round, size 8, and these are really fun and easy to make. So as you can see, I'm just loading my brush with the watery pigment and twisting my paper around and just kind of pushing the paint onto the paper in the direction that the petals would go. Just really easy. I'm not pushing very hard. As long as you have enough pigment on the brush, it'll come right off onto the paper. I'm just very gently putting it on the paper in the direction that the petals would go. And I'm not really worrying about separating the petals or anything at this stage. Further glazes of color will help to kind of create some distinction between the petals, but we also don't want it to look too detailed and precise. It helps keep that fresh modern look if you're not going for too much detail and just capturing the essence of these flowers. And I think using the variety of tones and colors is a really nice way of helping to establish some interest in looking at the flowers, even if they're not painted super realistically. So you'll notice that each different flower, I'm not repeating the same color. That's why I made a few different mixes. So some of them are starting more with the neutral purple, some more with the lighter blue, and I'm going to go over each of them with another glazed layer or two while it's partially still wet. And this really does help with the modern texture because you'll have some areas that will maintain the strokes that you put on the second layer, and some will blend in to the still wet layer underneath. Now this flower is facing sideways, so we're just going to paint half of those bristles outwards. By the way, if you're new to watercolor painting or just want to expand your current skill set, then you should check out my watercolor tips and techniques e-guide and video. These free resources will explain and demonstrate the most essential techniques to help you learn and boost your painting skills quickly. It also includes a link to a video where I demonstrate each of these techniques. Just click the link in the video description for your free e-guide and line art gallery access. So I have my neutral green mixed and I'm just painting the stems onto the dry paper. I'm adding a little bit of darker color here and there just for some variety of color. So some of the green is a little bit more vibrant and some is definitely more grayed down. And I'm pretty much just following the outline that I added to my paper. For the buds, I'm also not filling them in all the way. I'm leaving a little bit of white space. Again, I think that adds to the freshness and modern look of these flowers. So back to the petals, I'm mixing up a little bit more of a vibrant blue to go on top. It's also a little bit more concentrated, so less water. And I'm adding this to the dry layer. So again, I'm not being super specific about individual detailed petals, just kind of giving the impression of separation. And since you have the more neutral color behind, it adds a little bit of three-dimensionality since the brighter color comes forward and the more neutral color recedes. And so it just gives you that visual look of separation and depth within the petals. So some of these I'm painting more blue on top, some a more less neutralized purple. I'm just kind of mixing it up so that none of them look exactly the same. For the darkest centers, I mixed a bit of phthalo blue, which is my cool blue, with my pyrrole red, which is my warm red. And on this palette, that creates a really nice, deep, dark blue color. I'm doing brush strokes the same way as on the outer petals, just doing it in the center. And again, leaving a little bit of white space inside just to add some breathing room, I guess, for the petals, make it look a little bit more modern and fresh. A second layer here and there where it needs to be a little darker, but still leaving some of that lighter layer visible inside the center of the petals. The flowers. One of the final touches I'm doing on the leaves and stems is doing a brighter glaze of green over them. So it's already dried and you can see that it's still very neutral in color. So I want to add a little bit of a pop of color here and there. So I mixed a more vibrant green, made it really watery, and I'm just glazing it on top here and there. Also adding a deeper green color for some of the shadows on the bottoms of the buds and the base of the stems, just to add a little bit of contrast between the light highlight areas and the darker shadow areas. I hope you give this cornflowers painting a try. It is really beginner friendly. Just have fun mixing colors, doing your different layers and bringing it all together. And I think even if you haven't used watercolors very much yet, this is a really fun one to try. I really appreciate you watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more watercolor and art tips, techniques, and tutorials. Every time you like, comment, or subscribe, it helps my small channel reach a larger audience, so I really appreciate your support. Also be sure to click the link in the description to access your free watercolor tips and techniques e-guide and video, and access to the ever-growing line art gallery. Until next time, happy painting!